Welcome back, viewers, and again, thank you so much for staying with us here at Tobago Updates on GMT. And we are talking about Bioblitz, the recently concluded event, the 12th episode of this event, which recently concluded over the weekend. And we have in studio with us two guests who are going to tell us a little bit more about this event, what it means, and what the outcomes were. We have with us Senior Lecturer of Zoology in the Department of Sciences of the University of the West Indies, Dr. Amy Deacon, and we also have Mr. Ryan Mannette, Director of Species Bioblitz Committee member. He's actually the director of the committee who hosted this event. And as I said, the event recently concluded over the weekend, and they are here to talk about their findings or, preliminary, or I don't know if it's final. But we're going to learn a little bit about the biodiversity and what it means, and we're going to take it from there. So I hand over to you guys. Thank you so much for coming.
Oh, thanks very much for having us. And we're really excited to be here the day after the event to give you the fresh, hot off the press results.
we like stuff fresh off the press here.
But yes, so biodiversity really is just a word to describe all of life on Earth, everything, plants, animals, including the insects, every small thing, and sort of the variation that forms that sort of life on Earth, which is, fascinating and surrounds all of us.
Yes.
So the Bioblitz is a way of kind of surveying and learning more about biodiversity locally. So it's an event, as you say, that's been going on for 12 years now. And each year we go to a different part of Trinidad and Tobago. This year is our second time coming to Tobago in those 12 years.
Second time this year coming to Tobago?
No, second time in the 12 years.
Oh, okay,
yes,
okay.
Exactly.
I know I read somewhere recently that you were in Charlottesville in 2015.
That's correct.
Yes, and you found over, I'm really interested about the surveys, because I remember reading that in 2015 when you went to Charlottesville, within 24 hours you found over 1,000 species.
Absolutely. Yes.
This is amazing.
It is amazing.
I didn't even know this 1,000 species in 24 hours. Let's get into it.
I know, isn't it amazing? And that's just 24 hours. And the reason we're able to do that is because we bring together, that the event is to bring together all the different experts, nature lovers, volunteers, scientists, but a big team of people who are interested in biodiversity, but have different specialist kind of interests. So we have mammal biologists, we have marine biologists, we have birders. They all come together, botanists, and spend that 24 hours doing nothing but looking for species. So we get it's only a snapshot, but it gives us the sort of best snapshot that we have of a particular area for that time. So that intense surveying over that 24 hours in a particular area, we normally choose a 5-kilometre radius. Mm-hmm. So in Charlottesville, we had a 5-kilometre radius, including Charlottesville, Speyside, some of those offshore islands. So we had divers, we had people hiking in the forest, to just keep a list of everything.
Wow.
And so that's what we did this weekend, but in Baku and Southwest Tobago. Yeah.
That is really amazing and interesting. And it's so funny how we just live our daily lives unaware of all these things, and then there are people who are dedicated to this type of thing, and I'm really interested to continue this conversation with this biodiversity and finding all these species. Tell me some more. I really want to know more. Tell me more.
Well, it's interesting to know that some of the species that you see on a daily basis, you may not realize. You think these two animals are the same thing, but when you go down to the genetics of it, they are actually different species. So we may look at certain fish, and they all look the same to the general public. But when you start counting the rays and the fins and stuff like that, it can actually be two completely different species that just look similar. So when you say we found 1,000 species, you may not, as a layperson, understand that, okay, we are seeing 1,000 different species. But when you start to go down to the biology of it, you realize, yes, we have such diversity, and that genetic diversity in the environment is what's very important for the survival, because one species might be susceptible to a disease, whereas the other isn't, and they perform similar functions. So it's kind of like a safety net the ecology has, so that if something happens to one set, you have a backup to take over. So it's very important to have genetic diversity in your environment so that it builds resilience.
I appreciate people like you, because here we are, as I said, living our daily lives. And here you are protecting things that we don't want to get extinct because we need them for survival. Some of them we need for food. Some of them we need for recreation. Some of them we just need to enjoy and to feel good. When you see a pretty fish, you feel so good. And you are people who are literally spending your lives, dedicating your time to finding these things. And as you said, finding ways to preserve them and protect them from becoming extinct or falling susceptible to diseases.
Yeah, and the first stage to protecting things is to know what we have. And that's where Bioblitz comes in because, you know, to even start to conserve something, you have to understand, you know, what species, what is its habits, where does it live, you know, what area do we need to put protections in order to actually capture the species that need that protection. And in many cases, we don't even know what's there. In fact, even this weekend, we found species records for Southwest Tobago, which we didn't even know those species existed in Southwest Tobago. Some of them we didn't even know were in Tobago. We found a new moth species that has never in the history of the world been recorded by humans in Tobago just this weekend, just by looking and taking photos and getting the experts to help us identify them. We also, in Southwest Tobago, which was kind of surprising, we found some endemic species that we associate with, you know, maybe the main ridge, but actually we found them within our survey area down here in Southwest Tobago, like Ryan was saying about hidden diversity, where, you know, we know scorpions, we know geckos, but actually there are several species. Right. There's 10 species of scorpion in Tobago, for example. We found 3 of them in this Southwest Tobago this weekend. And one of them is an endemic species of scorpion that is only found in Tobago in the whole world, no other country.
What?
Not even in Trinidad. So, you know, these things people don't even realize. And the other thing I wanted to emphasize, actually, following on from what Ryan was saying, is that not only is this surprising to, say, people who aren't experts in biology or in biodiversity, you know, we as scientists get very surprised and shocked when we find that many species too. We know it's there, but actually when you start counting them, I think it even opens our eyes to just how many are there.
It makes me feel better.
Yeah, for sure.
It makes me feel better. But you know what I would like to know is the findings. Would it be published anywhere that we could like do research and find out about these things? Because as I said, this is like news to me. This is not something I would have ever considered having an interest in trying to find out. But just having this conversation this morning awakens my awareness, and I'm really interested. I'm really curious to find out more. So will there be any publications and the findings and stuff like that anywhere that we could find?
Yes.
Yeah. So the Trinidad and Tobago Field Naturalist Club do publish the data. The Living World Journal, which is published by the Field Naturalist Club. All of this reports will be drawn up and it will be published in the Living World Journal. And that's freely available to the public. The Trinidad and Tobago Field Naturalist Club website. You can go on there and you can actually find reports from all the previous Bioblitz as well. So you can get a full view of what was found before and what is found this weekend.
Yeah.
And sorry, when you do these events, do you like invite partners, like let's say for instance schools or different groups or clubs to join so that they too can get the exposure and the experience of these things?
Yeah, we absolutely do. So in fact, maybe at this point I should highlight our partners, because we did have both schools and other NGOs involved, so it'd be great to mention those. Firstly, we had Species, which Ryan is the director of, so he's already represented, but Boku Reef Trust, they were also a partner here, and they have great connections with schools, so that was a really nice way to make sure the community was fully involved, as well as the THA and the Division of Fisheries had their full support. And I also just want to not forget to thank First Citizens Bank, who actually sponsored this whole event for us. But we also went through the Ministry of Education. We contacted all the schools in Tobago to make sure they were aware of the event and were invited down. There are also really cool ways that teachers can incorporate sort of mini bioblitzes into the curriculum.
Yes.
So you can even do a bioblitz in your schoolyard, you know, and I think, again, maybe not 1,000, but I think people would be shocked at how many species you might find.
Absolutely.
So we had several schools coming down. And yeah.
Absolutely correct. And I really want to thank you so much for coming on the program this morning. I feel your enthusiasm. I feel your passion. And you have caused me to become enthusiastic and passionate, and I really want to know more. So we will continue, in our findings. Actually, I'm going to go in my yard to see how many species I can find there. I might not know that it's a species, but I know it's something. There must be some variation there. So I want to thank you so much for joining us on the Tobago Updates, GMT, today to share your information with us. Viewers, we thank you so much for being with us this morning. Thank you so much for staying with us throughout our programs. I am Adanna Combie, and we're leaving you here today. And we hope that you have a great and a marvelous day, because it's a beautiful day, and this is the day that the Lord has made. Have a good day, everyone, and thank you.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise.